Hey everybody, it's Alex from Heavy New York. We're finally doing an interview at Revolution Bar and Music Hall in Amityville, Long Island, and today we are here with Rich of September Mourning. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's so awesome to have you here. You just put out your two new singles, Empires and Glass Animals.
Yeah.
Is this like a clear indication on what maybe like the next full-length September Mourning is going to sound like?
Yes and no. I mean, definitely the Glass Animals and Empire are a different sound than like the previous September Mourning material. But you know, the songs we've got finished so far, they're all like different pieces of the same puzzle. You know, like I'd say it's like a pizza.
Yeah.
You know, like they all fit together and they kind of complement each other, but it's not all exactly just like those. There's still lots of little ebbs and flows and differences between everything.
Okay, so this new record's not going to be like a direct follow-up to your previous one. It's not like you're going to kind of utilize a similar sound. You're kind of experimenting, right?
Well, I mean, honestly, Volume 2, the album that we put out on Sumerian Records, that album, a lot of that was written before I was even in the band. Mm-hmm. And then when I joined the band, Emily and I and Sahaj Ticketon, our producer, sat down and kind of like redid the songs the way that we wanted. Because the entire process of that album was just kind of a long, drawn-out thing, and we were just kind of making the most out of what we had, the material to work with. So, you know, me helping to sculpt that sound was kind of different than me writing. Mm-hmm. So you know, when we finished that cycle, Emily and I were very clear of just thinking to ourselves, like, let's, you know, push the envelope and really do what we want to do, you know, and not just go through the motions and just put out another radio song or another this song or that song, you know, just like really like stretch the boundaries as much as possible with everything.
Yeah. Now, obviously, I know you weren't in the band or in the formation, but I know that September Mourning has just as much of an emphasis on the imagery on stage as you do with your music. Is the imagery that you portray, like September Mourning, I know is actually a character. Yeah. Was this like, do you think that this is kind of like an image that kind of comes from the music of September Mourning, or is this like a separate entity?
The music and the image. I mean, it's kind of funny that you say that because we've always felt that the imagery of it is like so A+ level, and the music was good, but it wasn't as A+ level. So a lot of what we've been, the quality control of us writing these new songs has all been about getting the music to be as interesting and dynamic and just like, whoa, what is that? I can't believe that and that together works. That's kind of like where our thinking has been, is to like make it all just be like, whoa, you know, like what is this, you know?
Yeah, the first time I saw September Mourning, I don't know if you were on that tour, but it was on their tour with OTEP in 2016.
Yeah.
You were on that tour?
Yeah.
Okay. And like I remember it was like almost the venue entered like a separate reality just because it was a small venue, and then, you know, you guys just with your imagery that you were expressing just totally changed the atmosphere of the other two bands or three bands that were on before you that didn't have that.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Well, which show was that?
Webster Hall, the studio.
Yeah. So Dollskin was on before us.
Yep.
And there
was a local band.
Local band, Dollskin.
Through Fire.
Through Fire, yeah. So Dollskin's more like punk rock.
Yeah.
Band. Through Fire is more of just a straightforward radio band.
Yeah.
And then there's us dressed up all weird. I got program lights, and these big hoods, and then there's her in all white. You know, so like we definitely try to create a world and bring everyone into it, and we're just not afraid to work. You know, like we just want to put on the coolest show we possibly can with the tools that we've got. And so if it's 10 times more stressful and more work to do that, we're gonna do it because, you know, that 30 to 45 minutes that we're on stage is the only 30 to 45 minutes that we've got. So might as well make the most of it. You know,
definitely. It's a 30 or 40 minutes that I definitely did not forget, and there was like 7 bands on that bill too. So.
Yeah, and I mean honestly, I remember that show too, and I'm glad that you liked it because the sound was really bad.
Really? I didn't notice shit.
We had tons of problems with our ears, like wireless problems, and so I just remember that it was really hard to get through the show, and in between songs we were all looking at each other like, because you know, like we know what it feels like when we're killing it. And even when we feel like we're not killing it, we're probably still doing pretty good. But that's just that's just us wanting to do the best we can. So when there's all these like little issues and problems, plus the stage was so small, I think I was like hitting my head into the speaker and stuff. It was just a frustrating situation, but obviously it went well.
I mean, I was like an inch away from Emily's foot, so like it was.
Well, she didn't kick you, so that's good.
Yeah. No, I think your bass player did.
Oh wow. Well, he's not here anymore, so.
It happens. Now, one question I was actually curious specifically for you is some people know that you also used to play with Gemini Syndrome, and what I was curious is because I do see a little similarities in like kind of like your guitar style that you play. It kind of has like that very mesmerizing riff effect to it. So for you, there's also though a lot of differences. Emily is very different from Aaron. So like, how different of like a mind frame or songwriting process is it for you between those two projects, or do you have like a usual go-to mode depending on?
I mean, obviously I'm me, but me right now versus me 10 years ago is different. I've evolved as a player and as a writer, but I guess to compare the two processes, when I started Gemini Syndrome, like I was just writing demos in Logic to a click and program drums, and I just kept compiling all these songs, and then I came up with a name and had this idea, and I was just looking for a singer and looking for band members. So the beginning of that was just me sitting in an apartment in Hollywood by myself. I didn't have anyone to bounce things off of. Then once I started getting band members and working with different producers, the songs evolved and got better, but the guts of everything was just on me. It was just what I wanted to do. In this project, I was coming into, her band, things that she wanted to do. Plus, at that time, her main songwriting partner was Sahaj. So, it's just, I had to like take a step back. It wasn't about me. It was just about me being a team player and filling in the gaps, But over time, things have evolved and changed. And so I've had more and more, I'm not going to say, but more and more like input on how things have been happening, especially with the writing. So honestly, a lot of the sonic ideas of the new September Mourning stuff is the roots of all that is in Gemini Syndrome, because it's me playing guitar, and that first album Lux, I mean, a majority of those songs were the guitar parts were written by me, the rhythm stuff. So in a lot of ways, I kind of feel like the new September Mourning stuff is kind of like what the next Gemini Syndrome record could have been if I was still there. Okay. Because like Glass Animals and Empire, the difference with these songs though is that I'd made an honest effort to not put it all on me. Yeah. Because I do realize that I kind of have my own pattern of things I'll do. So I've been writing with different people. Because she writes the lyrics, and then she says, oh, she likes this part and that part. But when it comes to, like, the guitar parts and everything, I wanted to write with different people that I thought could, like, push me to not go through the same tricks all the time. Yeah. So to help me evolve with everything. So, yeah, I mean, you're going to hear a lot of similarities. It's just, I just feel like it's stretched. The stuff that was pretty and the stuff that was heavy that I was doing before, it's just more of that. Yeah. It's heavier. It's bigger. It's prettier, it's just, I'm better. Like, I'm a better guitar player now. So I mean,
that definitely happens with age comes experience.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned like songwriting, and I love getting into like this debate because some people don't know, but playing, it's one thing to be a great musician, but songwriting is like a completely separate talent than, like, I know people who could come up with an arrangement in their head, but when they try to execute it on an instrument, it sounds like ass. So how different for you is songwriting and playing in the studio versus playing live? You already have, you have your stage show. That's obviously a big difference. But between songwriting and just playing, how different is that?
I mean, songwriting is like, it's tricky because it's like, I look at, I guess, like food, like you're making different foods, and do you want to make Asian food? Do you want to make Italian food? So it's more complicated, and you got to stay within theme and fulfill the things that you want to do. But then playing live, it's kind of like, I already know what the song is. So the thing with live is trying to figure out how I can play the song well enough but throw down as hard as possible, because it's a tricky thing, you know, like balancing execution of your playing and staying tight, but then not standing there for like this, and just being boring.
The Beatle effect.
Yeah. So you know, that's the trick. You know, is like trying to figure out how to sound good but not look boring.
Yeah. And on top of that, being that you have this stage show, I'd imagine, because there's some bands, you know, who may not utilize the production that you do, so it doesn't really change from venue to venue. Just play, sound check. For you guys, I'd imagine every venue that you play in is a different experience, right?
Oh yeah. Because I mean, even though the lights are programmed and different things, because the stage is, I mean, every time you play on a different stage is a different stage. But because we have the production reinforces all the vibes of what we're playing. But because of the differences of stage, our setup feels a little bit different every time. Everything's amplified with the production. So yeah, definitely every show, it's like, even though I know this is going to happen with the lights and this is what I'm going to try to do, different parts, it's a different terrain, you know, and I get surprised a lot of the times on how different it can feel, even though there's a lot of scripted things that we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, you could perceive something in your head all you want, but once you bring it to live, it's like sometimes the vision in your head could sometimes go out the window.
Yeah. I mean, the lucky thing is that it always ends up being cooler than I thought. You know, like I've been programming lights either in living rooms or garages, and it looks cool, and then I watch a video of us, and when there's a crowd, I'm like, wow, it's way cooler. You know, like it's a good thing to realize that everything's better than what you thought or intended, you know.
Definitely. So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time today. Is there when can we be expecting the new September Mourning record, and is there anything else with September Mourning that you would like to promote?
The new September Mourning record, we would love for it to be out like next month, but we still have to finish some things up. So speaking with management and label, we're looking at the fall. Like, that's what we're hoping. Like, basically, we'll finish this tour on April 6th, and then I'm hoping that over April and May we can finish up the loose ends, maybe write a few more songs, but at least finish tracking the ones we've already got started, and then hopefully announce a release date over the summer, and then get the album out before the end of the year. That's my intention. Also, I mean, I would like to release a single or two in that time too, just to keep everyone,
to hold people over.
Yeah, you know, because it's like I don't want to like release those other two songs, because Glass Animals was in December, end of December. If we don't release the album until September, I don't want everyone to wait that long for, you know. So I want to, you know, those are things we have to discuss, but that is kind of the general vibe that we've been talking about timeline-wise. And then the other big thing is April 3rd, the graphic novel comes out.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out in January, but just, you know, typical production setbacks. Image decided April 3rd. So April 3rd it hits comic book stores, and then April 9th, which is a Tuesday, it hits the actual bookstores. So like you can go on Barnes & Noble and order it, stuff like that.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's the big cool thing, is that the graphic novel's coming out. I believe Sumerian's actually going to do a bundling thing, where they're going to take our last album, Volume 2, and bundle it with the graphic novel and have it up like on the Sumerian merch website. And then, you know, so there's that way. Then there is ordering it from different stores, or going to a comic book store, or we're going to have it on tour with us. Like, there's 10 different ways that you can go out there and get it. Awesome. Yeah.
Well, Rich, always good to see you again.
Definitely.
Everybody, we are here with Rich of September Mourning, new graphic novel coming April 3rd, and be sure to be on the lookout for new music coming soon. We'll see you next time on Heavy New York.